Hi, my name is Charles Rotunno. This presentation is for Rider University with Instructional Media and Technology Management for the Supervised study with course BED 309 for Dr. Curran, spring 2012. Technology by itself is nothing more than a tool. To truly teach technology, you must incorporate its abilities into as many aspects of education as possible. Technology is learned from experience, not rhetoric. Technology in education: teaching, understanding, and managing. Hopefully, throughout this presentation, you'll understand technology better from three different perspectives. As my career is IT consulting with my company Core Technology, as a future educator in elementary education and special ed, and as a current and former student, I want to bring each of these perspectives into the presentation and proving a different point of the theory, and hopefully making technology easier to understand in life, in business, and in education. To start off the presentation, I'm going to talk about a experience I had recently with cloud computing. CloudForce 2011 is based out of Jacob Javits Center in New York. It's an annual symposium created by the company Salesforce. Salesforce creates sales-driven products to help businesses streamline their sales and inventory process. CloudForce is a company within them that takes the same process of streamlining business and inventory into the cloud being the internet, and allowing companies to offload their IT resources to a different company, and they only access the information instead of store the information. What was interesting about this cloud-based software is it's used widely through a lot of different companies. And I went there originally to look at a software and e-commerce implementation for business of mine. And I learned a lot more than I expected in a lot of different ways. The most important thing I learned was from the company Burberry. Burberry had their CEO speaking, and she mentioned a lot of different things. Most importantly was the statistics regarding her company. 70% of Burberry's worldwide workforce is under the age of 32. This is a staggering number and means if I want to stay in business, I better start understanding the needs of my employee. Being socially connected is not an option at Burberry. You have to be totally connected to everyone that touches your brand. If you don't do that, I don't know what your business model is in 5 years. At that moment, I realized cloud computing is where everyone's going to be in 5 years, if not sooner. And that's with the business and corporate world. So if that's where everyone at the top is going to be, what about us in education? What about the students in education? We need to be there as well. We need to prepare students for cloud computing. It's going to be changing consistently, and it has to happen at the ground level. Burberry's taking initiative by looking at their young employee workforce and saying they're moving into cloud computing whether they know it or not, so we're going to have to follow them. Throughout this presentation, you'll see how each of these different technologies I describe use cloud computing and how important it is to stay within the cloud and how useful it is and efficient as well. Instructional management and media. YouTube is a pretty important aspect of our life as we know it. It stores and holds tons of videos of variety of content, but the big problem with YouTube currently is its inability to have filtered content. So most schools block YouTube access because of this reason. The internet is an information superhighway that allows for great content, but at the same time, a lot of inappropriate content is mixed in as well. YouTube is no different, allowing a lot of strong, mature content to be accessible by everyone. So in a school environment, YouTube is not going to be available, but there's a lot of good information when it comes to education, whether it's National Geographic, History Channel. A lot of different news organizations have YouTube sites dedicated to displaying, on up-to-date live content. But YouTube understood this management in the cloud needed to happen for schools, so they created YouTube for Schools. It's a separate filtered version of YouTube, and it's implemented at a network level so that all the devices connected to that school's network will be redirected to this filtered version instead of the unmanaged youtube.com. Integrating lessons and playlists is really important when you're using YouTube as an educator. There's a lot of great content out there, and you can put together a playlist specifically for a certain lesson plan that can supplement your initial lesson that you gave to the class. It's dynamic, it allows for the students to be engaged, and it brings up a lot of now information, so you're not referring to a textbook or information that may be outdated. You're looking at video feed that could have been pulled days ago from across the world. It's more or less quality over quantity. YouTube is a great resource, but it has a lot of quantity that's not appropriate for schools. So you're getting this new version for schools with quality over quantity. Your administrators, everyone can restrict access to only the stuff that's educational, and the students can browse freely online without having to worry about accessing information that's too mature for their age level. And at the same time, teachers, parents, they all can be rest assured that, hey, my students, my children are actually accessing the right information without having to get in trouble with the inappropriate content. Collaborating on YouTube is always important as well. So being able to access YouTube and be able to watch the same video, whether you're home or you're in school or you're on an iPad or you're on a desktop or a laptop, that same video is accessible to anyone. And without the access to YouTube at a school, you're losing out on that collaboration. Google Docs, another important instructional management type of media. It's a comprehensive service provided by free from Google. It's cloud-based as well. It includes document presentation and file management. And at Core Technology, we use Google Docs to manage proposals, client files, and it's a storage medium for other important files that we need to access from any location. One of the strongest features of Google Docs is the collaboration. Recently I had a school project for developmental disabilities, and our topic was traumatic brain injury. I was able to create an open document that other members of the group could all access at the same time, and together we spent a couple hours inputting all information for our research into one document at the same time. By the end of our session, we had everything together, everything ready, and we were able to leave without having to wonder if so-and-so had finished their version of their research or their specific topic relating to our presentation. There was no need to email or to file away other type of documents, or do you have the right version of Microsoft Word because I have a different one? Do I send it in the email? None of that existed. It was easy. It happened at the same time, and if there was a problem, we could make a change right there. And as soon as we finished collaborating, that document was available to all of us at our home, at our job, in school, at a local computer, at a public system. It didn't matter. It was all there and ready for us to use. This collaboration can extend beyond school, and as an educator, I can create lesson plans and have my colleagues look at the same thing, have my administrators see if I'm on the right page, if I'm doing what I'm supposed to. If I need help or if I have a question regarding a lesson plan or a curriculum, I can have this collaboration tool ready and at hand and be used with not just students, but with my colleagues in education as well. Reliability. Another strong point of Google Docs is its ability to be reliable when storing information. As soon as something's typed into Google or imported, it saves immediately. So that computer that crashes on you, the internet that freezes up, any of those issues that happen when you're inside of an office type file doesn't exist in Google. It's happened on numerous occasions where I've had everything freeze up, lock up on a public library computer or on my laptop. I wasn't worried. I knew that I can just restart and pick up where I left off of and never had to question whether or not that file was redone. Imagine I've saved countless hours redoing things because the save feature is so crucial in Google Docs, but it goes back to that cloud-based function. It's based in the cloud so that the document is able to be retrieved. And as a student, I'm happy about it. And as an educator, I don't want to have to redo lesson plans. I don't want to have to redo notes on an IEP. I want that to be able to be saved as I'm typing, and it's important that that happens immediately. So now we're looking at current and emerging media technologies. Prezi is currently being used for this presentation, and it's a cloud-based presentation management software. It's really neat. It's cool. You can see the different effects I've done already with zooming in and out and moving from one side of the presentation to the other. It doesn't use slides anymore. It uses anything you want. I decided to include all my information in rings and make it simple. Reliability is, again, top-notch because of the cloud-based function. As soon as I make a change inside Prezi, it's saved immediately. I've had my computer freeze numerous times creating multiple different presentations, and I've lost information. That was years ago. The last year I've started to use Prezi. I've never had to redo a presentation. I've never had to redo a slide. I've always been able to import and take information from my laptop to my desktop. As a student, that's crucial. As a business owner, that's important, being able to give presentations without having to worry about losing information. And as a future educator, knowing that the lesson I present is there on the computer at school, is there on the computer at home, can be given to an administration, can be given or can be viewed by a student at their house. All that's available with this reliability of cloud-based management. Prezi is visually pleasing. It's nice to look at. It's different. It goes beyond what PowerPoint has given us for so many years. And I appreciate that. As a student, I like that. I like to impress my audience. And as an educator, I want to keep my students attracted to my lesson. I want them to be engaged. I want it to be something they remember for that test, for that next grade, whatever it actually is. I want it to actually bring them into it, so they don't just look at a slide with words. It's actual something that's happening. Prezi is dynamic. It allows for different types of themes and different types of fonts and everything to happen as you want it. I can make it as static and as simple as I'd like. I can make it as fancy and as large, and I can move from one side of the theme to another, and the workspace is endless. It's pretty cool how everything can be done to my desire. I don't have to fit into a template or a form. And collaboration. Similar to Google Docs, I have the ability to open this presentation to anyone for collaboration. We can all edit the Prezi at once, we can all input our information at once, and it can all be stored at the same time. When I finished my developmental disabilities Google Docs collaboration, I moved everyone into a Prezi collaboration. And immediately we were all back in the same workspace working on our presentation. And after 2 sessions of collaborating on 2 different cloud-based software, our presentation was finished. It was impressive, it was efficient, it was easy, and it saved us a bunch of time trying to get things done without having to email or worry about when our schedules are actually able to happen. Collaboration on this level is great when you have multiple teachers in the classroom. As a special needs teacher, I may be the special needs teacher, I may be the general education teacher. I might need to collaborate on being able to understand what it takes to get my lesson across to multiple students. And I'm not going to be the only teacher in the room, and I'm going to need some way of collaborating. This is the way to do it. This is how I can present my presentations with ease and simplicity, and not have to fuss over collaborating at once. Reliability, again, it saves as we go. Everything is top notch in terms of reliability. It's consistent, and it makes it simple and worry-free. The outdated software of PowerPoint kind of puts us back into the 90s, and using slides really doesn't help. But it's available, it's just not what I see as the future of presentations, and I don't understand, I wouldn't understand going back to PowerPoint. I wouldn't want to risk losing a document as it freezes, if I forget to save, if the template is available for what I want. I learned PowerPoint years ago, and the same time I learned it, my teachers learned it. And they seem to enjoy PowerPoint so much, I felt like I got sick of it. So I don't want the same to happen. The dynamic nature of Prezi can allow me to be creative beyond PowerPoint. And a lack of collaboration in PowerPoint. If I don't have that file on every computer that I'm working on, I can't collaborate as well as I can with Prezi. So communicating through technology. Is it social networking or is it email? What is the best way to collaborate? Email by nature is pretty efficient. It's simple, and it's really not that hard to use. It's one of the oldest forms of communication on the internet, actually predating the internet itself, with its roots going back to ARPANET, created by the military. Sending an email in the 1970s is ironically not that much different than sending an email today. Uses the same store and forward model that allows users to receive messages without being online or present. So it does actually have a bit of cloud-based management, as well as keeping the files stored outside of your computer. Email is a little hard to collaborate with because collaborating with email requires every person to be reviewing emails as they come in. You have to go through and scroll and read everything at the same time. It's basically an antique when it comes to collaborating efficiently. After a few emails to a few different people, it's over. You know, you can only CC so many times before you get confused or caught up in the lack of collaboration. Accessibility is pretty strong within email. You can use it within multiple devices. Most smartphones and tablets and laptops and desktops all have the same function of email. But what happens a lot of times is email is stored locally on someone's computer. Someone opens up Outlook, they store the files on their hard drive, and they're deleted off the cloud. When that happens, you're now taking that backup, that accessibility function away from email. Social networking, it doesn't actually have that problem. You can't necessarily store your content locally, and that's a good thing. Many people don't realize storing things on their hard drive directly can be a risk for losing it. When it's stored on the cloud, it ends up being a lot safer. So accessing information on a social network is great. You have a smartphone that can access Facebook, access Twitter. You have a laptop, a tablet. They all have access to these great features. And collaborating with social networking is very strong. I can post a link on someone's wall that allows me to then tag other people. So one post can include 20 people, and everyone can see everything at the same time, and then they can post comments regarding that original post, and everyone can see it at once. It doesn't get caught in an endless chain of email. In business, that's actually really useful. In education as a student, I've posted more research links than I can remember on Facebook walls without having to fuss over email addresses. And it's important as an educator. I want to be able to post information to parents, to other teachers, and to students about topics on homework or projects, and I don't want to have to send out multiple emails for communication. I decided to do a survey using surveymonkey.com because I was not sure on how many people actually use email. I know myself, email is still used widely in my business, but I feel like I'm a minority, so I wanted to find out for sure how many people actually still use it. And I surveyed about 80 people, and the participants, who were between the ages of 10 and 19, when they were surveyed asking what the most popular means of communication was when they were between the ages of 13 and 20, showed a strong showing for text message, cell phone, and social networking. Email was the lowest, with the house phone being 0. So we can see that not many people use a landline anymore, and even only a few more people actually use email, with text message and cell phone being increasing. And this is for the younger generation. If we skip over to the older generation, between 20 and 29, where I fall into, you now see email is non-existent, and text messaging, cell phone increase, and social networking increases. The interesting part of this bar graph is this other right here in the red. That is where I had left where people could include something I missed. And everyone who answered other actually answered AOL Instant Messenger. And I think people didn't realize that AOL Instant Messenger back in the 90s is actually an early form of social networking. So this number can be applied to social networking to bring it up to 15. And that shows that social networking is increasingly more popular than email. And in the future, whether you're a student, an educator, or a business, you're going to be using social networking to get in touch with teachers, clients, parents, and students way before you're going to be using an email. And eventually, in my opinion, email will be phased out in lieu of connecting with people on social networks. There are over 1 billion people combined on Twitter and Facebook. So the chances of you not knowing someone on these social networks is very, very slim. So I mentioned I used SurveyMonkey.com to create this. So I want to take a second and show you exactly what that looks like. SurveyMonkey here is a website that allows cloud-based surveys to happen. Everything is stored on there. I can see my active surveys, technology through generations, and it gives me a whole synopsis of the questions I created as well as the way I analyze my results. So I wanted to use a database software, and I chose Microsoft Excel. And after I collected all my responses, I was able to download them in a summary that I was able to export in Excel. And it came up like this in a nice, easy to see chart form. So I have the chart for question 1, question 2, question 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All of these things are accessible through Excel now, and I can take what I've learned in the cloud and apply it to real life. I had 81 different participants, which is a pretty strong number for a survey, and I was able to gather a lot of crucial information. I was also able to gather a qualitative analysis of technology. I asked the question to 80 participants, define technology in your own words. They all typed up and included what they felt technology meant, but I had no way of actually compiling that. How do I take someone's words and all the different meanings and put it together and look at it at a data analysis type way? Well, the site Wordle.net allows for you to input all different types of text, and then it gives a big word mash, like you see here on the most popular words that come up. So I thought it was great that most people agreed that technology includes the use of electronics, the world, the way you see things, how knowledge is, and easier. So this is how I agree with technology. It's a form of communication. It's a form of advancement, and it makes things easier. Technology means a better life. You can look at this Wordle and now see, hey, 80 people feel these words are most important to them when it regards to technology. That was a really important part of my presentation, being able to take something that's qualitative like language and make it quantifiable using the internet and the cloud-based methods of Wordle.net. So continuing with talking about the internet, we have using the internet as a research tool. Now, originally this topic was brought to me as utilizing the microprocessor as a research tool, and that microprocessor being a computer. Well, it's true. There's a lot of positives to now having computers using research, but I feel like that may have been more of a stronger topic 10 years ago. But now everything has a microprocessor, and the internet's really where research lives and is brought to life. So I changed it a little bit and decided to focus on how the internet reflects research within education. Wikipedia is the largest, most comprehensive encyclopedia to date. The early days of academic research required the use of paper encyclopedias and dictionaries. Information was accurate and detailed, but it could be easily outdated as the versions only came out once a year and were extremely costly. So a set of encyclopedias could cost $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. And if you bought it once, you would get revision cards in the mail where they would include some updated information that you could stick or apply to the page that it reflected. But after time, it just became too cumbersome, and you had to go out and buy a new set. So that was how encyclopedias and research worked before the internet. And when you fast forward to 2001, Wikipedia is established, and then current encyclopedia model is now being challenged by a free, anonymously contributed and edited online database that anyone with internet connection can access. The process of gathering, collecting, and creating academic research material has been changed forever. So the history of Wikipedia is pretty interesting, and it goes far beyond what this presentation can cover. But I wanted to point out a few, big items that some people have issue with in Wikipedia, and how I feel as a student and as a future educator how positive Wikipedia can be for my students. Not many people think Oxford English Dictionary when they talk about Wikipedia, but the two are actually pretty closely related. The venerable Oxford English Dictionary has a pretty incredible history, and it was actually created by a huge contribution from solicitors and receipt of thousands of slips of paper that volunteers sent in to the Oxford English Dictionary. The Oxford English Dictionary was the first project of the Philological Society in Great Britain in a response to popular dictionaries created by Noah Webster and Samuel Johnson. This goes back into the late 1800s, around 1857. The three founders of the OED decided, hey, we need help making this dictionary. We can't just do this on our own. And the people who have done it on their own, we don't think they're doing a good job. They haven't been able to access all the information that we feel is out there. So they sent out a notice to all English-speaking countries in the world, and they said they need an appeal to the English-speaking and English-reading public to read books and make extracts from the Philological Society's new English dictionary. They basically did a public service announcement and said, hey, we need help. If you read books and you know words, send it to us. And as simple as that, by 1879, the Oxford University Press agreed to be the publisher, and their efforts became very successful, and the society started receiving 1,000 submissions per day of slips of paper that would come in through the mail all across the world. That's exactly how Wikipedia is found. Thousands of people submit new content every day, and there's actual contributors sitting in the back ends of Wikipedia and administrators looking over these submissions. So this isn't just a free-for-all. It's actually a very close, tightly knit community looking over all the different edits and changes. What people fear most, I think, about Wikipedia is, hey, can anyone just edit this? Can I just be malicious and say whatever what I want about George Washington or about the history of New York City? And if I can say it, then someone else can, and I don't want my students citing information that could be false because someone wanted to play a joke. Surprisingly, that ends up being the opposite of Wikipedia. The systems in place prevent it from being maliciously attacked, and important articles are closely monitored. So as soon as an edit is made, people who are looking at that article are notified, and they can go back and confirm, hey, are these edits credible? Do they have sources? Are they cited? It follows the same procedure anyone would expect in writing content for academic research. It has to have citations. It has to have verified information. And the part that really ties in Oxford English Dictionary to Wikipedia is unknowingly the Philological Society began receiving thousands of submissions from a man housed in an insane asylum. They were unaware of where these submissions were coming from, but this crazed murderer was a U.S. Civil War survivor, and his strange and erratic behavior after the war led to the killing of an innocent working man. So he found himself locked in an asylum and nothing left to do except attend or be permitted to visit the library. He found this project looking for submissions for this dictionary, and he spent 21 years contributing individual words, phrases, and constructions. And it wasn't until almost the 1900 in 1891 when the founders finally realized who this contributor was. And they claimed that he was the second most influential contributor to the start of the Oxford English Dictionary, only first to the founder. So it's pretty impressive that someone who is in an insane asylum, who is a Civil War vet and a crazed murderer, can contribute such important information. He's not a scholar. He's not a college degree holder. I mean, by all means, society would have not wanted him contributing to this article if they were aware of his situation. But it doesn't change his experiences and what he knows about the English language. And that can be said for anyone contributing to Wikipedia. I'm not sure if Britannica or Webster know exactly what they're talking about. I assume because they're scholars and experts they do, but there's probably many people in this world who can give a great example of an opposite fact that's found in these encyclopedias, but there's no way of doing that. But with Wikipedia there is. If you want to contribute something that goes against what's being said, you're more than welcome to do so. You need to have facts, you need to back it up, and you need to make it quality content. As long as that's followed, your opinion, your fact can be now taken as the true meaning of the history of this topic. And I feel like that's so important. We cannot be limited to the static information provided by a select few. The collaborative information we get from millions of people really do make a difference. And as an educator, I don't want students taking Wikipedia as an easy way out. I want them to understand that it is a valuable piece of information if it's handled correctly. If the article has a flag on it that says, hey, this has not been verified. The citations for these claims are not there. There's no primary source. There's no additional supplement article to say this information is true. If that's the article that I'm being given from a student, I'm not going to accept it. And I want to encourage the proper use of Wikipedia. Banning Wikipedia or saying we can't use it in academia or in elementary schools, I feel like it's not really going to help. People are still going to use it. Students are still going to reference it. Students are still going to somehow take advantage of the ease of access. Let's make sure they do it the right way. Let's make sure they understand that it is a proper source if done correctly. And just like the Oxford English Dictionary is well renowned and respected, it too was created with the collaborations of hundreds of thousands of people. And Wikipedia just happens to be a new version of the same concept that was used 100 years ago. So, moving towards the end of this presentation, we have improving teaching through the use of instructional media. The site CourseSites.com is a branch of Blackboard, and I had the opportunity to attend Rider University's Technology Curriculum panel during the spring 2012 semester. There were 4 different competing vendors looking to secure Rider University in providing their online course management needs. Currently, Rider University uses Blackboard, and after visiting their booth, I was shown how varied their software suite is. They have this separate learning online curriculum for K-12 called Course Sites. It has the same functionality as Blackboard, but it's customized for the younger grades. And the best part is it's free. So I decided to take the time and customize a site on this cloud-based management software. It keeps me organized because Blackboard is made for education. As an instructor, when I created this course site, I was able to see exactly what I wanted or show my students the type of curriculum or schedule, and as well as content, whether it's a syllabus. It doesn't really matter. It keeps me organized, and that's just as important for me as it is for the student. And it also can increase the parent-teacher relationship. I'm going to show you now exactly what this course site looks like. Here I have John Smith, a fictitious student I created that can view this site I have set up. I decided to set up a kindergarten class, not because kindergarten's easy, but because this course site is scalable. It can be used for college, like I have in my classes, or it can be used for kindergarten. It doesn't have to necessarily be used in grading everything or submitting online papers, but Right here I have announcements. Mother's Day is approaching. And I want all the students and parents to realize that we have a project coming up and that we need a photo of their child. And I need to have them bring it in before the week is over. This announcement is available online to any of these students. What you see right here is the homepage for John Smith. I have sent out an email to Dr. Curran as well, inviting him to be a student of mine. He can sign up, create a username and password, and log in and then see Mr. Rotunno's kindergarten class as an option for him to view. And he'll get the same exact look I have here with the calendar of activities. Maintaining the parent-teacher relationship is really important. I'm going to be an elementary teacher, and kindergarten is actually a preferred grade of mine. And some parents and some students, this may be their first introduction into the school. So I want to make sure their experience is as transparent as possible. The calendar here can show all the activities going on from each session, each morning, and every day. From the reading, the snack, the different lessons, and then the mixing in of the school spring recital or the journal entries. And then, like I mentioned before, this Friday is the Mother's Day project because Sunday is Mother's Day, so I want to make sure everyone is aware, hey, Mother's Day projects due. As well as having this lookup of information in front, we have the course dialogue, which allows for a discussion board to happen between the parents and myself. I need class trip signups for a class trip to see if any chaperones want to help volunteer while we go to the Popcorn Zoo, as well as having a generic sign up, just having parents sign up so I'm aware if I need help in the class that there's a parent who can lend a hand in either making something for us or lending their time to help out in a group activity. All this is available within the course sites, and it's different than what you're used to when you're in the college level, but it works. It's still there, and it keeps everything organized, efficient, and it makes sure the parent and teacher relationship is strong. Heading back towards the end of this presentation, I just want to confirm and go over everything I have with teaching, understanding, and managing. I feel like my experiences in 3 different areas of technology as a career, as an educator, and a student really can make an efficient classroom run with technology as the foundation. Technology is not going anywhere. It's only increasing. It's getting faster. It's getting, at times, more complicated. And I want students to understand how powerful it is. They're going to be introduced to technology whether I do it or not. But in my classrooms, I want technology to be a supplement to everything we do. And when you incorporate technology into lessons, into education, it can be learned so much better than when technology is just put on its own corner and used as a lesson by itself. Instead of doing that, take it, blend it, and make it part of everything. And so in conclusion, I hope that my experiences and my perspectives have made a better understanding for technology as a whole and the potential that educators like myself have when teaching future students. And I hope that this is an indicator of where technology is right now and where it will be as we move forward. Thank you.